All right, I think it's close enough.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'd like to call the January 27th, 2025 Golf Course Advisory Board meeting to order. We'll start with roll call, which is shortened now. Marshall Allen.
Here.
Jesse Rankin.
Yeah,
John Hay. Myself, and City Council is none.
We believe he's coming.
he said yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And so just as a reminder, we only have 4 people on the board right now. In July, council will do another round of applications and make appointments, so hopefully we get 3 more people at that time.
Jeff, what makes a quorum for a board of 4?
3. 3. Yep.
and next on the list is board reorganization.
Yep. So we would take nominations for the chair. Anybody wants to nominate anybody? And it has to be with you 4, it can't be anybody on this side of the table.
We both have done it once. That leaves it.
Not everyone jump up at once. I can continue. I have, until I upgrade, I should be able to control my schedule, so.
Was that a way of saying no?
No, that was the way of saying that my schedule is unpredictable. I'm afraid that upgrade is going to come in April or May, which means I will not be here. So I may not be a good candidate.
When you say you won't be here, does that mean the rest of the year or?
No, not necessarily. It's so once you start upgrade. Well, my initial training was 2 months. I think it's only a month, but then I'm driven by their schedule for the experience. I'm hoping it doesn't happen until June or July, but.
So would somebody make a motion for Ann to be the chair?
I make a motion and be chair.
Yay!
Somebody has to second it.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Dan.
Well, you're my friend.
Yeah, right.
And then we need to do the same thing for a vice chair.
I'll volunteer who wants to do it.
I nominate John.
All in favor?
So you need to second it, right? Someone's like, second it? Yeah, I'll second it. Cool.
All in favor of me being vice chair?
Yeah.
Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. You have to meet.
Okay. All right, next up, approval of agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I move it be approved.
I second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the list, the approval of the previous month's minutes. Are there any changes to the last meeting's minutes in October? No? So if not,
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
all right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any opposed, or all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes unanimously.
Yay.
So next up, any public is invited to be heard? No public? In attendance? All right, we'll move on. My favorite part, the communications. Which of you would like to go first?
What would you like us to do, November, December total or just total?
Just
Total.
Total, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'll go, I'm only gonna do Sunset, I'll let Pete do the Twin and Butte. But, so for Sunset, for the total here, We were projected in '24 to do about 604,000, and actuals came in at 790,780. Revenue, or excuse me, rounds, we were projected to do about 32,950, and actuals came in at 37,218. And as you all can see, the courses are covered. In January, we've been open 4 days total, and we've done 2920 in revenue and 184 rounds in those 4 days. It was very busy, those 4
I was
days.
gonna say, that's,
Yeah, it was fun. But, yeah. That's all I got for Sunset, other than we're getting ready to make some changes.
Like what?
So let's go through the report first.
We'll go to that, we'll come back. Sorry.
All right, we'll move on to Twin Peaks. It's like projected for 2024 was 1,378,000. We got to 1,757,000. More importantly, 180,215 over the record year of 2023. So that's pretty cool. The difference, if you look down at the rounds, we did 43,614 rounds, which is again more, 2,411 rounds more than we did in 2023. 5.9 up on the rounds, 11.4 on the revenue, so that's a really good year.
yeah.
If you said, would you just repeat that right now, I'd be pretty happy with that for next year. That'd be pretty good. Looking at Ute Creek, which I'm certain was a record year at Ute Creek as well. Projected at 1,982,000, came in at 2.4, so amazing. And then again, 272,000 over what we did in 2023. Looking down at the rounds, up 4,355 rounds over 2023 for 48,332. And I would say again, I would be happy to take those numbers again this year, just the way they are. And that 48,000, I mean, there's a chance to break 50 this year. That would be pretty cool. Do that out there. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, really good year for the revenue for all 3 golf courses.
That must mean they have good management.
Yes, outstanding upper management
Right?
skills.
You guys did a great job.
That's very impressive.
So, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, any thoughts of why? Has it been weather? Because the courses have been looking great.
We got off to a really good start early in the year. Obviously going to be not, doing that this year already. We're, January was not great, and
I think I did, I just didn't print it. So I don't know, I missed that memo.
No, you
Maybe
didn't
next
have
time.
to, no.
Okay.
Sorry, Keith.
that's all right. January's not been so great. I would say to Danielle, we did get the range ball thing from high school, so that worked out good.
Oh, good.
That's 6,000 in the bank here at Twin Peaks, so that's good. But it's been a quiet January. And the days that we are open, we're super busy. But the golf courses definitely were getting tired, and so a little break is probably a good thing. But we're definitely not going to be off to the kind of start we got off to last year. If you look at last year's numbers, the actual numbers in, we did 41,000 in January, 63,000 in February at Ute Creek, 34,000 and 46,000 at Twin Peaks. And, now if we get back open pretty quick, we can make up numbers pretty fast, and then the weather's good, but it's going to be a while before we get open.
Yeah.
So.
You don't think it'll happen this week at all? For real?
We got another 5 inches on top of the couple that were already up here at least.
Oh,
Yeah, we weren't quite melted off with the storm from 2 weeks ago, which is now iced on the bottom. And then they 5 inches on top of that over this weekend, and that's going to make it. We're going to need some wind and some 60-degree temperatures for a couple days. But yeah, we have gotten that phone call too.
Are you gonna be open on Saturday?
Oh gosh, yes. I got the text messages.
So the other thing I wanted to add, and we talked a little bit about this at the October meeting, but Sam has retired. His last day is Friday. We are going through a shuffle that will be occurring, and if you went out in the front of the clubhouse, you see that started. Keith is going to move from here at Twin Peaks out to U Creek, and then Brian is not only going to do Sunset, but he's going to do Twin Peaks as well. And again, that will start Saturday. So,
Congratulations.
This is the final countdown.
yeah. So, excited about that, and we'll only have 2 pros. They will both continue to come to this meeting, and we hope, again, have a great meeting, another great year. That's why I put you down there.
Where's going to be your home base? I guess is there like the time distribution you're estimating?
Realistically, I mean, to get things rolling, I'll be here 70% of the time more than likely, just to, get my feet on the ground.
Right.
Thankfully, the POS systems that we use are identical.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's the same operating system,
Right.
and it's all cloud-based, so I can access Sunset from here if I had to. To do any kind of reports if necessary, or vice versa if I'm at Sunset. Most of my billing structure for my companies are already all set up for for Sunset.
Right.
So I've added I believe it's a ship to a sector of the account, to where now I can just tell them which course to send it to for the products.
Sure.
But it'll still be 2 separate invoices, but they'll invoice everything to Sunset still. So you could say that's home base, but I'll be here more often.
Yeah, makes
Just
sense.
because there's a lot more happening
Right.
at the moment with the change for the year.
Yeah. And there's more activity in general here, right? So, yeah.
It's been a few years. I started here when I was 16 in the cart barn, so, and Sam was the pro here at that time. So that's
Full circle.
it's been following with these guys a long time. So
Okay.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Looking forward to it.
The meetings or?
The years.
All of the above.
Not so much the years, they seem to be going faster and faster.
That's for sure.
Is that,
Go ahead.
you would like to continue from there, or
Yep.
anything else?
Let's move on.
All right, any old business?
Nope.
All right, and on to new business. Jeff, would you like to take over from here?
Yes. Yep.
All right,
So both A and B we can kind of talk about at the same time. Each year at our organizational meeting, we have to designate our time, day and time and our location of where we meet. So for quite some time now, we've met the 4th Monday of the month at 6 o'clock here at Twin Peaks, and just wanted to verify if that works for you all still.
Just for me.
Good.
yes,
So we would need a motion that would say that the board will continue to meet on the 4th Monday at 6 at Twin Peaks Golf Course.
all right, can I get a motion for the Golf Course Advisory Board to continue meeting on the 4th Monday of the month at 6 p.m.?
I would move we meet the 4th Monday at 6 p.m.
And you
Second.
second? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion passes unanimously.
And then the next item is the posting of our agendas. We are required to post those on the city website under the agenda management system. We also post them at
City council.
the
Post
city
them in
council.
the city council offices, there. And that's all, that's the only place we post them.
Okay.
Well,
So,
on the front door here.
right. So at all 3 of the golf courses too. So we would just need a motion that approves the city website as our official agenda location.
All right, can I get a motion for the posting of our Golf Course Advisory Board agendas on the city website. Any motion?
I
Did I say it wrong?
That be approved.
I'll
Any-
second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the next item is, in your packet was a draft calendar of agenda items for the year. We continue to propose that after January and February, we would go to meeting every other month. And wanted to just verify if you're okay with that. And then you can see the different topics that we have proposed for the year. If you would like to see something different, we would certainly like to talk about that this evening. Or if you're okay with this, we could move forward with this for the year. And that doesn't mean later on we can change as necessary.
Does anybody have anything they'd like to add to this?
I move the present agenda be maintained in 2025.
All right, motion. All right. All in,
Before you vote,
yes.
Yes.
let's make sure
Yeah,
Jesse's had a chance to.
I guess I was just curious, like, is this pretty consistent with every other year? I mean, it doesn't really change much, right?
It
But-
changes a little bit, not a
Right,
lot,
yeah.
but it's,
And it sounds like it's pretty fluid, it's flexible to add things, besides maybe the no meetings and so forth, right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
so if you have other topics, they can always be brought up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Sorry, Ann.
No,
No.
no worries.
So we need a vote then.
So, all in favor of passing this, the schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah, the yearly agenda, I guess.
Yeah, aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
All right, any opposed? No, so motion passes unanimously.
All right, and the final thing is irrigation update. As you're aware, in October, you went through the maintenance building out at New Creek. We're about this close to final completion. We do have our certificate of occupancy out there, so we're probably 99% done. Have a couple of punch list items, so we won't be reviewing that project anymore. But we are in the midst of the irrigation, and Ryan is going to talk a little bit about that.
So since we met last, we've had pretty good progress. The weather has slowed the crew down since after the holidays, but since, middle of December, they were able to finish the mainline installation on the back nine. So the big pipe, that's the main artery that feeds all the sprinkler heads, is installed on the back nine. So if you remember, the entire front nine and the driving range is done and installed, mainline, sprinkler heads and everything. Mainline has been installed on the back nine. And then before the weather hit, the crews were able to start working installing lateral and sprinkler heads over on 13. So they went from 13 green to just past the 150 pole working to the tee box. So that's about just over half the hole is done there. And then the weather moved in on them. So last week, they were able to work 2 days and started working to clear snow out of their way to finish up a few things to clean up areas on the golf course and get a few more heads installed on 13. And then, that was the week before, and then last week, they were here for 2 days and they started working on our winter hydrants. So every green out here will have a winter hydrant so we can water in the winter. So since they're not able to see the survey tassels out on the back nine where the sprinklers are, they didn't want to pull the lines, so they've been working on installing the winter hydrants for us. Talked with one of their construction supervisors today, and right now they're just kind of playing it by ear to see when they're going to be back. They need a little more snow to melt before they can come back and start working again. So once everything's melted, the crews will be back and getting the laterals installed, and right now we're still sitting on the completion date of the first week of April. So by then, everything should be installed and complete. And beyond that, we'll go through all this stuff to make sure it is up and operational. So, not a very exciting update, but with the weather, that's all that's going on. And as the weather gets nicer, I'll have more to share with everybody.
Yeah.
As the, I guess as the snow melts and stuff, how much of a concern is like damaging the turf and lawn as they go, or is it pretty non-invasive?
No, there's a little bit here and there, but the moisture will actually help the pole lines and the trench lines to settle better.
Okay.
And then everything that they damage is part of the final punch list to get seeded or sodded and repaired before we sign off on the project.
Okay.
So
So they're responsible for reseeding or something.
And they have some of that they'll have to do again on the front nine as the weather gets nicer again.
Okay.
So they'll still, once the project is finished, they'll still be here in some capacity working on fixing and repairing some areas as seed doesn't take or stuff needs more attention than originally needed.
Okay.
We're pretty optimistic too about moving forward. What we've found on the back nine is that there aren't as many rocks that we experienced at the front nine, and so
Easier to trench.
yeah, it's been going much faster. So
Okay.
we're hoping that continues.
It was quite remarkable though last year to play 43,800 rounds and have one of the busiest year, well, obviously the best revenue year we've ever had, and have all this going on. So a tribute to that construction company, and even more of a tribute to Ryan and his guys for just, I mean, I didn't know what to expect going in, and to get through the year as well as we did, I don't think I had that in my vision of things going so well. So, I mean,
Right.
I played the golf course a lot last year, and it was remarkably playable.
Yeah, I think it was like early in the spring. Some of the areas were
Oh, it
just
was-
like shut down. Right?
Yeah.
All the-
Yeah, because they were going from hole to hole, so
Yeah.
you'd have half a hole shut down.
We'll still experience
We'll have some of
this
that this spring.
as they install sprinkler heads. Like if they're working on a green, they'll shut down a green so they don't get hit. So we bang back to a temporary hole, but if they keep up the pace they were working, it'd probably be a day, 2 at the most. And when they move out of that area, with their pace they're keeping.
Do you mind if Dan talks a little bit about the deck out at U Creek?
No, I'd love to hear about it.
So the deck out at U Creek it's in tough shape right now. We've got some areas of the plywood where it's deteriorating and there's soft spots. So we have that membrane over it so you can't see it, and it makes soft spots. And there was definitely some chances of people falling through this last year. So my crew, we had them go out and we took out about the first quarter of it from about the poles where the canopy starts to the door out there. We re-plywooded all that and got that in, and that's down and looks good. Right now we're working with a company to put in a permanent waterproof membrane, ADA approved, all that stuff, but the weather just hasn't cooperated with us. They've been able to get out and at least get the waterproofing part on it, but right now we're waiting. They have to have days of at least like 45 degrees and nights above freezing, because it has to sit for 24 hours to seal and cure before they can put the final coating on that. So hopefully, maybe next week, it's looking better come these first couple weeks of February. So they can get out, and then we can see, hopefully we like what this product is, and then we will go out to bid to do the rest of the deck in the spring, hopefully in the spring, as soon as the maintenance facility's actually completely finished. So we'll redo the other 3/4 of the deck, and if the construction company doesn't like what we did there, then we'll have to kind of redo it all, so it'll be under their warranty and all that. But they're also going to do the rails. The railings are wooden railings right now. We're going to go to metal railings that are welded in and way more sturdy than what the wood railings are. So all in all, when we get there and can get a construction company out there, they're thinking 6 to 8 weeks, something to repair the deck. So hopefully we can get started sooner than later and not be into, you know, the middle of the season and have it shut down, so, but we still have to go up a bit on that too, so it's a process.
Is the temporary fixes like usable as of now?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, we have it shut off right now just because they just don't want so much foot traffic on it, you know, people dragging mud or goose poop through it and all that when they're coming off the course into the clubhouse, so,
Yeah.
but as soon as they get done, a day or so after they get that final, membrane down, then we'll be able to use it.
6 to 8 weeks. Okay.
So, yep, hopefully it'll come soon. It's well overdue.
Any questions on either of those two projects? Just since we have a few minutes, the other thing that we'll be working on is stabilizing the silo that is out by the maintenance facility. We have an engineer that is doing the design. There's some foundation work that they need to do, and that will probably be done sometime by early May, June at the latest.
So is there a cost to that?
Yep,
Why is it out of our budget?
because it's on Gulf property. It has been named as a historic landmark, and we are required to take care of it.
Who named it a historic landmark?
The city did actually.
Oh, okay, so the city deemed it and then
Yeah.
says you paid for it? Okay.
Jeff,
I'm just.
what's
You're right, that's why we're paying for it, that's all, I know what the excuse is.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Marshall?
what's historic about it?
The silo was built in 1938.
36, 38, something like
And,
that.
Well, so was I.
Yeah, me too.
Me
too.
You got to start paying for marketing.
Yeah.
If you live on Gulf property, you'll be
I'm
paid.
sorry.
You'll be covered.
But anyway, I'm sorry, but anyway.
But it has been identified, or had been identified by the historic preservation group within the city. Someone within our community had asked for it to be protected. There was a real fear as we were getting ready to do the maintenance facility that they were afraid we were going to tear it down, which was really never one of our intentions. We feel like that's a real marker for the golf course, and didn't have that intention, but city council agreed that it should be preserved, and again, because it's on golf property, we're responsible for it.
Can it be used for anything once
No.
it's? Oh,
It's there to look pretty.
all right. That's right. Is there anything else you can do with it? Like make it look more pretty, or
No, because you have to restore to
like original?
and, you know, people have talked about over the years where we've considered putting a cell tower on it, and that wasn't real well received.
Yeah.
There was talk about using it as a art and public places location, and we weren't in favor of that. And
Right.
so restoring it to its original condition or as close to it is kind of the goal, and then we'll continue to maintain it for years to come.
Is this a new designation or?
No, it's been 2 or 3 years, I think now.
Probably.
Oh, fair, okay.
Yeah, it was before we did the construction of the maintenance buildings, so when the old buildings were there.
And we didn't want to do any work on it until the maintenance building was completed. Now we'll start work on that this year as well.
And do they have any idea the cost to?
It's going to be around $100,000.
Oh.
And we've set that money aside and have that ready to go. The challenge with it is that a lot of companies could come in and do it for less money, but they don't have the preservation skill set to do that. So there is a cost of that type of company coming in, but we do need to meet those standards. We could apply for grants, but would really like to get it done with and move on to other things. We've got quite the list of other projects that we want to do, and we'll talk about those more in detail next month. But one of the next things that we're going to do is we're going to be hiring a consultant to do some work over at Sunset Golf Course to see if we can improve the area for tournaments and some of the outdoor seating. Look to see if we can do something there. We have a designated trail that we have to do on the north side of the golf course at U Creek that runs from the property on the west to the property on the east. We have to continue the trail that is out there. And it's going to be fairly expensive because there's a ditch that we need to go over, and we believe Parks will have a ditch that they're a bridge they're no longer using that will help reduce that cost, but we do need to make that connection in the next several years. The new development that is going on directly to the east has already put their section in, so I'm sure the city will be pressuring us to get our part done as soon as possible.
Which holes is this on?
It's up by 3 and 4,
Okay.
kind of up by the
So
the maintenance.
sure.
Other things that we were looking at is doing some work here at Twin Peaks to see if we can further improve the opportunity to use the outdoor bar. Keith and I for years have talked about some type of additional shade for out here. Again, those aren't going to happen, but those are all on our radar to be able to complete. And then the final thing I'll mention is the cart path on 9 at Sunset. It needs to have some work done. The crusher fines just don't work with all the slopes as much as we had hoped, so we'll need to do something to improve that section of the cart paths.
Yeah, about that, would there be any reason to put some kind of siding along there such that the people that are driving the carts wouldn't go up that grassy area, but go up and stand on the path?
Are you talking at the
On
corner?
nine, on
at
nine.
the corner when
Yeah,
you go
you
back
know
to the
that
clubhouse?
corner that you come off,
Yep,
and then
that
you got
kind
that
of
corner that goes there, and you got this grass area right here.
You got guys
So
that make
but the
their
guys
own
just go
path.
right through that instead of staying on that path. And I didn't know if that would be something that,
We can look at that. It
Might
might be easier just to widen it out so that the turf isn't there anymore.
well, whatever, but
Yeah.
I just, you know, I ought to look at that area.
Yeah. Which is disappointing about number 9 because the crusher fine cart paths have worked very well everywhere else but there, and it just has too much runoff and we can't compact it enough to stay in place. Kind of a quick summary of what's coming. Anybody else, staff, have any comments? Again, you'll see Ben is our recreation and golf superintendent. As some changes are going on within recreation, you'll probably see Ben a little bit more, and he'll be much more vocal than probably I will be.
So we're gonna see you later.
Yeah, I'll still be here, yes. But, and, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Well, because like I was gonna ask, are they gonna help participate in that path building, or is that
Who?
on the Parks and Recreation?
No, that would just be golf, because it's just on the golf course.
Okay.
There's no value to the pool for that path. If we were talking about the road base that goes right between the pool and the golf course, recreation would certainly pay its part. Ben, could you talk about the new parking lot that we're going to be adding?
Yeah, so all the construction on the water tank was happening. We had to make some massive adjustments. We were out there. Ryan, this guy has made just Herculean effort to get us a temporary parking lot just to the south of the road there in the practice area. They did a great job with that. We also kind of expanded some spots. We got really creative. It actually worked out pretty darn well. Well, these guys are getting done, and they staged in that short area between where the road is split. So when you come out of the parking lot, you go straight across and then go left. The area just to the left right there is where they were staging. That was not a used area for anything, and so our idea arose to let's put some parking right there. It will be primo parking. It will be in the shade a lot, which will really be nice. Closer spots than the ones up above. I think we can get, Ryan, how many? We have 22 bumpers. Parking bumpers.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, 20 to 22.
And we can easily fit that many in there and have it be pretty comfortable. So we're actually pretty excited that we're going to get a bunch of additional spots that, parking has always been a problem. And so this will just help it. It's kind of exciting. And the streets guys are actually going to help us do the work. They're going to do the work. Unless they want to put me in a tractor and do some bulldozing. So they'll be pretty cool, and it's going to be happening here in a couple before we open for the summer at the pool. So yeah, should be cool.
Any other items from staff?
All right, so do you have any items from the board? It's your first time.
Yeah, I think I talked to Jeff about it more. It was just like how many. I guess I'm just curious of like how many ideas we have. I think there's probably a fine line in budgeting between what superintendents need for like turf care, like what are some smaller upgrades that I would like to see around the golf courses. Like, why haven't we done some of those to date? When will we? Like it seems like you guys focusing on the larger, like more substantial projects and ideas. Have we talked about the smaller details around the golf courses that?
Can you give us some details of what you're?
Yeah, so I think I personally hate the golf flagstick pins. I think that there should be a clock at U Creek at least, and hopefully Twin or even Sunset, right? Starting times are really important. We have the great announcers, which are really helpful. Things like that, where it's these are kind of simple things that make the golf experience a lot more enjoyable. And as an avid golfer, I know I appreciate those. Maybe the average golfer wouldn't appreciate a nicer flagstick, but you touch it every single hole, every single round. I think those details to me are important, and I just to know the history of what you guys have done with those improvements. Then turf care is obviously an important one that I think is, I don't know, I have to go through the budgeting of how much we spend on sand and seed, and I think we mentioned it, just how much do we really spend on maintaining the turf. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is all the different updates, increases in rounds year over year, and the cost that, and the money that you're making. There's also a lot of round increases, right? So have we increased the spending at least significantly to kind of match the wear and tear on the golf course, right? Do the superintendents feel very comfortable with the quality of the golf courses, right? On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rank that, right?
I would ask Ben that question.
Right, yeah. So I think that stuff comes to mind of how do we set up and really, if you're going to continue the growth of the number of rounds per year, you should have planned for better course conditions as you go throughout the year, right? If you have a huge number of increases, I think you will definitely lose off on some of the quality of the golf. And I think a lot of what I've heard through random people that I meet on the golf course, like they really appreciate the value that like the golf course in Longmont had, right? Like it's always, I mean, New Creek is always well known for like, oh, you use like $52 or whatever for like a really good, always good condition golf course, right? So like, how do we improve that as we get more and more rounds around the golf course? So I'm just curious to hear more back from that side of things from like the superintendents, and just curious to learn about how our spending has changed throughout the years with the more and more wear and tear that the golf course occurs. Those are some of my ideas.
We will add that to the conversation with budget next month.
Cool. And I think you sent me the financials. I don't know if they're broken down into all the different.
Not to that
turf care.
level.
Right. Okay.
But Dan and Ryan will be able to help with that.
Okay. Yeah. And I just maybe it's worth bringing up those ideas. I don't know if it is or isn't, but it's just kind of like things that float around in my mind about.
Well, I know from just the history of coming to the meetings, like the irrigation updating in Twin Peaks happened at Sunset too, right? I mean, that, at one time, 10 years ago, they were trying to figure out how to fund it. Like it was already 40 years old or older.
Right.
So you've talked about the improvements it made overall the golf course this past year, which is huge. So I mean, I think that stuff had, from what I can take, is that stuff has been in process.
Right.
But nothing like those large projects happened fast.
Sure.
Yeah, the deck, I was wondering if that they're not going to change anything about it other than just resurface what's there.
Yeah.
So, because we've talked about improvements to U Creek Clubhouse, which would be nice, but
At what cost?
Golf would need to do that, and if I remember right, it's about $5.2 million to do that, which is to put in a whole clubhouse.
Oh, okay. I thought they were just gonna like change the carpeting and like paint the walls or something.
No,
Okay.
no, that'd be,
no,
it would
they're going to
actually
put in a
cover.
big entertainment facility.
Send you
Okay, cool.
And that becomes the challenge for golf is, you know, U Creek is what, 20, how many years old?
36.
30,
Well, in 97, so
yeah,
28.
27.
Hell of a sunset.
101?
102.
Yeah,
102.
102 now.
So as a part of that, we also have to put money aside to, you know, fully replace all the irrigation at Sunset. We're gonna need to redo the irrigation at Twin Peaks at some point in time, or excuse me, at U Creek at some point in time. Any improvements to the building, all has to come through that extra money that we generate and set aside, because there is no other support other than the fees and charges and the things that we charge them to operate the course.
It sounds like you just have to space out some of those larger projects, right?
Yeah.
So you can't do them all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think those are all, I mean, huge improvements.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is just like what do you foresee as the next like concerns for the next 5, 10, 15 years, right? Like when do the greens need to be replaced? Like when do like bunkers need to be updated? Like when does that stuff? Because is there like a laid out plan for at least those kind of larger?
Some of those there are.
projects, right? Yeah.
Well, it was in 2019, I think, when we did all the bunkers.
Yeah, we
on the
redid
green
all the
side.
sand and all the green side bunkers.
And
This year
of course, one big rainstorm,
We've done it,
and you got to do it all over again,
Yep.
which is where we're at in some places. Dan and his staff did some work this last summer on some of the drains to kind of help with that, so that it sinks in rather than floods all the sand out into the course.
Right.
But we also have what we call a replacement list that tries to identify all the tables and chairs and cooking items
Like
and
expendables in a way, or consumables kind of thing.
yes,
Yeah.
heaters, air conditioning, all of those kind of things that,
Cameras, toilets and sinks,
Yeah.
faucets,
all of those
tiles,
things that-
carpet.
Yeah, right, yeah.
so, and then those add up over time as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you, we will address the turf. Next.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't get a chance to, on every day, socialize with like a superintendent or ground greenskeeper, so it's always kind of interesting to me. And I just would love to get feedback from, like, directly being hands-on, like, you know, how is the turf care and how much interaction do you guys play there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else from the board?
Well, with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned at
Nothing. Thanks so much.
6:44 PM.